thing.
So let me ask you this. Well, earlier I said something and Paul challenged me on it. I was confident they're going to fire Bobby Sloak.
No, they're not gonna fire him.
Oh, whoa.
You don't think? Wait, you don't think that with how
Who's
bad
Bobby gonna hire? I mean, who's D'Amico gonna hire? Like, I think we all forget. Like, D'Amico's
Josh McDaniels would be a better hire than Bobby Sloak. Right
he's never called plays, so no.
Nathaniel Hackett. Come on.
Like, who? I think we also forget. Like, D'Amico has only been a coach for like 7 years, if that, something like that. Well, he was assistant coach for like what? He came in 17.
He was an assistant coach.
He was assistant coach for like 6 seasons.
Right.
He doesn't have a deep coaching tree.
You're right.
So like,
Who's
who's
he
gonna
gonna
fire
find?
him and then fire who? You know, like you elevate Gerard Johnson. All right, cool. You bring somebody else in. I mean, you're back to now. CJ is gonna have to learn not a whole new system, but it's not like Gerard has been in like a bunch of like Kyle Shanahan schemes and things of that nature.
And I would just say too, and I like what you've been doing with him and with Chancellor Johnson on Channel 2, but like Pep Hamilton, a couple of years ago, we were all like, oh man, let this guy be the offensive coordinator, and then he moves up, and it just didn't work. And,
right.
Okay, he didn't have C.J. Stroud to work with,
Right.
sometimes the guys that we think are going to fill in that void, they don't live up to the maybe outsized expectations we put on them.
Exactly. I mean, you got to at least let him, because he had a good year. He had a good year one.
You did, yeah.
The run game works
at
times. And I think that, you just kind of have to run it back next year. But I don't think you can fire him.
Yeah, because my only real
Firing him
pushback
is a bad idea.
Because like my only pushback is like the D'Amico not having the. I know he's only been a coach for 7 years, but he did. All these great coaches in the NFL were here in Houston. Like he does know the Kubiak tree pretty well.
Yeah, most of them are like head coaches now.
No, I know, but there's guys guys
he probably
that know
knows
guys.
a guy through a guy. I get what
you're
saying.
I get what you're saying, but like, again, like, who do you think he's gonna get to replace Bobby? Right, he's gonna get another guy that runs this scheme. It's so I think where you got to start is get rid of the O-line coach.
Yep.
And so then you get rid of the O-line coach, you get a new O-line coach that's better, possibly, that can coach them the way that you want them to be coached. So then you can improve a lot of your interior offensive line issues. I think that, there's personnel issues, there's coaching issues, obviously. Obviously, Bobby falls into that, especially with the lack of detail. But, yeah, I don't think, firing him is going to do that much.
Is it more about the offensive line coach? Here's first question. This has nothing to do with Chris Strausser. It's more about why, when he had his one availability this year, was everyone putting their cameras away from his face? It felt like he was in witness protection. Go back and look at it. I saw this is from Sarge, Big Sarge Sports, and from Aaron Wilson. The interview that they did with Chris Strausser. I don't know why. It made me laugh. The cameras were either pointing at the ground.
Okay, they weren't supposed to record it and post it.
Oh, breaking the law. Breaking the law.
They weren't supposed to record it. You could record it, but you couldn't record it with video.
Gotcha. Why not? Is he in witness protection?
I don't know. I mean, the Texans, that's what they asked.
Okay. Listen, I'm not trying to get you in trouble. I'm just a question of curiosity.
Okay.
2, he's got to be gone though, right?
Yeah, for sure. Because 2 years, like what does he have to hang his hat on through the first 2 years?
The offensive line is paid, but not because of him.
Like they were a better pass blocking offensive line last year, but he couldn't run block worth anything. And I mean now
without Kenyon Green,
who
would have thought we'd miss him?
Yeah, I know, because like Juice just ain't. I mean, he's a young player, so I don't want to crush him. So,
but he's not a mauler. Like Green, to his credit, like there's a reason
Mauler,
Brian Baldinger got all on him after the first game that he played. He's like, yeah, this guy's a road grader when it comes to the run blocking. The problem is he's an absolute disaster in pass protection. It's a weird thing. Like he's a first round pick, so everyone's gonna view him as a bust. He gets drafted a little bit later. You'd be talking about like, oh, he's a good run blocker.
Yeah. They miss him for sure.
It's crazy
they miss
to
him
think.
for sure in the run game. It's just like Jarrett and Juice can't move people off the ball. That's the issue. Like they're fine in pass protection, but again, like if you want to win when it matters, like cause for this team to get where they want to get to, they're gonna have to be able to run the ball. And the way it's looking, I think down the stretch, the last 4 games, they all have good interior defensive lines. I think Miami and they have Calais Campbell and Zach Sealer. Zach had 10 sacks last year.
He's biggest
Cam
in the league.
Campbell, I don't know how he's still playing.
I don't either.
So-
But
he's
he's
so
still
good.
big. He's like 6'9".
Yeah, he's like
He's a
legitimately.
giant.
Yeah, and then you have the Ravens who have Justin. I don't want to even try to pronounce his last name.
Oh,
but
Matabuke.
he was All Pro last
Yeah.
year. Chiefs have
Chris
Chris
Jones.
and
Oh,
then you're
God,
gonna-
I
then you're
forgot
gonna
about
see the
Chris
Titans
Jones. Oh.
again.
Chris Jones is gonna kill
Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Sweat. So like,
Damn,
you know,
I didn't think about that.
yeah, so like the run game could like be a legitimate issue. I would say offensively, like Bobby's probably gonna have to like, because one stat I saw that was actually kind of nasty, and I've defended Bobby, but they lead the league in second and long runs.
Yeah.
They lead the league.
They've shown a graphic every single week on the broadcast
Yeah.
that shows something else about how they are such a team that struggles on first down and on second downs.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, I think it's both Will Kunkel and Landry Locker, like, on their
Yeah.
tweets, like, the last 2 days have just listed all the depressing offensive
Yeah,
stats.
for sure.
And we're at like 12
Yeah.
at least. And like things that I wasn't aware of, but I definitely wasn't
Yeah,
surprised
yeah.
by.
Yeah, I think if Bobby could like find ways to like go more quick game, move the pocket, like
But they've tried that. Remember when they tried to do the quick game and then they end up
game?
getting they've done the quick game a couple of times and it hasn't worked.
which game though?
They did it in this past one. Remember they got no huddle. Then what happened on second down? They ran into a wall.
Yeah, but I'm not even talking about up
Oh,
tempo.
you mean quick passing game?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah,
My
yeah.
bad.
Not up tempo. Like,
Okay.
the whole up tempo stuff is kind of like, I mean, at the end of the day, you still gotta.
Yeah, you got to make the plays happen.
Yeah,
otherwise
like
you're
that.
wasting time.
Yeah. So I would say more quick game where like CJ's hitting his back foot, like 3-step drop, hitting back foot, getting the ball out. Because one thing that again, like I always reference back to this team because they run a very similar scheme, at least from a passing standpoint. Because Miami and Houston and San Fran, they all see the same type of coverages.
Mhm.
But what Miami's done a good job of is finding ways to hit the underneath stuff. Because as well too is playing his average air yard per attempt is like 5-ish, 5-6-ish, and they're just kind of like dinking and dunking, picking you apart. So then teams have to go from too high to like single high, and now you can. That's why he went ballistic against the Patriots because now the middle of the field is more open for them to be able to throw passes.
Yeah, it
and
was open.
well, anyway, into those windows. So I think Bobby has to kind of not copy what they're doing. That's not what I'm saying, but like find ways to have more quick game and more deke and ducks as an extension also of the run game. So now if you're in 2nd and 5, now you got 2 downs to get 5 yards.
Okay.
How much of this is on CJ? Like, what do you
So
regression, sophomore slump?
So I would say if I had to put a percentage on like the whole entire offense stuff, so obviously 50% interior offensive line,
50% for them.
50% easily.
Wow.
Easily.
It makes sense.
Yeah, like I know, like we like to focus on Laramie and Titus, but they're doing their jobs. Like
For the most part. Titus had some rough reps on Sunday.
he has some rough reps, but I remember someone tried to criticize him on like the sack that CJ.
Yeah,
the safety.
CJ ran so far back. That was
Yeah, like at that point, like that's on CJ, right? Like because Titus catches the guy, he gets driven back, but he catches him and holds him at that point, like. But I would say Bobby, I put him around like 35, and CJ like 15. Because then CJ's is a
15, that's a significant amount, even if it's not 35.
That's not that big. I mean, at the end of the day, he can't get 0.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Obviously, the turnovers have gone up. I would say last week was the first time I would say that now he wasn't seeing it well. Actually, I'll take that back because actually the 2 interceptions, like he was seeing it well. He just made miscommunication and he made that was a questionable decision because that type of throw to Nico trying to get over the linebacker,
second
it would have
interception.
took like a perfect throw. Granted, the linebacker made a great catch, but that still would have took like a perfect type of throw.
He said he had to put it a little bit higher. The first interception, and I know the broadcast broke this down in great detail, it was miscommunication. Stroud did say, though, I didn't see Mechie there, and that is one of those situations where I watched the replay, and again, you're seeing slow motion, and you're going to jump to conclusions that probably aren't reality, but I felt like he felt pressure that wasn't quite there on that play, and I am wondering if that is just a result of what's been going on all year.
Like I don't disagree there. He won't admit it, but there's a lot of times where he's leaving the pocket early.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, like he's human, like he's been getting beat the hell up throughout the entire season. So like I think at this point, like if like the first or second ain't there, he's just going into creation mode. Or sometimes, like last week, he was kind of hitting his check down a little earlier than usual. And I would just say like right now he's just not playing in like a great rhythm. I think that's the issue. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just not a great detailed rhythm, specifically in the second half. Cause first half he's fine, right? Like it's just the second half that's when things kind of torpedo, and a lot of that again starts with like the play calling to an extent. And until that improves, it's gonna be another Tuesday. Well, they got a bye week next week, but it'll be another Tuesday, and we're gonna be like, yep, they're still in the same spot. But I think they'll win next week though.
Over under 2.5 wins the rest of the season.
Ooh, that's a good number.
I think they'll win this week. Tennessee won a toss up.
Oh God.
It's a divisional
He's
game.
taking the under.
It's a divisional game, man.
The line's only 5 this weekend.
It's a divisional game, and like
Was
they
5.5
they
yesterday.
have they have the blueprint to slow down this offense. But I would say I'm gonna go over it. I think they'll finish 10-7.
Thank you.